Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. So in this particular video, we are going to discuss about a recent announcement that has been made by the Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi, where he has declared millets crop as a future food or future crop. So we are going to discuss in details what are millet crops, and also UN has declared year 2023 as International Year of Millets. So also we are going to discuss about that, and also we'll try to understand that why millets are being considered as a future food and why the global gauge is now shifting from the cereal crops to the millet crops, including in India. But to give you the brief context of this particular issue, PM Modi has said that once in a century pandemic, obviously while addressing the COVID-19 pandemic, that has been followed by a conflict situation, obviously the Russia-Ukraine war, it has shown to the world that food security is still a concern for the planet. And it was the message that he gave in the opening ceremony of the International Year of Millets 2023, which was organized by the Food and Agriculture Organization, that is also known by the short form of FAO, headquartered in the Rome, Italy. He highlighted that millets have a glorious history of being among the earliest crops that has been grown by humans. Even in the ancient civilization, we have seen the evidences of the millet crop being cultivated and being consumed. And thus, they have been an important food source since past, and that is why it is now need of the hour, not only at the domestic level, not only at the level of India, but also at the global level to make them a food choice for the future. So let us first try to understand what are millets. So millets basically can be considered or are basically a small grain cereals like example jowar, which is also called as sorghum. We have pearl millet, which is called as bajra, again a very well known millet all across India. Little millet, that is kutki, and kodo millets, finger millets such as ragi. These are the major millet crops that we see that is basically cultivated in the India. And if we talk about the India in general, the earliest evidence of cultivation and consumption of millet can be seen from the Indus Valley civilization, where we have evidences that almost 3000 BC, in 3000 BC, we have the people that are consuming and growing and eating millets. However, as far as the current situation is concerned, more than 130 countries across the world, most of them obviously in the Asia and Africa, they cultivate millet, and for almost half a billion people in these two continents, millets are example of a traditional food, and in some places even the staple food. So that is all about the basic things about the millets. So let us turn our attention toward the cultivation of millet crops in India. Now we know that India we have three different cropping season. The Kharif cropping season, where the crops are sown in the summer time, cultivated in the winter time. Then after that, it is followed by the Rabi season, where the crops are sown, the seeds of the crops are sown in winter season, cultivation happens in the summer season. And then between both these two, we have another season that is called as Jaid season, where mostly the crops such as cucumber, watermelon, these kind of crops are cultivated. So as far as the cropping season is concerned, in India, millet is an example of a Kharif crop. Now, this is something that is very, very important, and in UPSC prelims examination, such kind of factual questions can be easily asked. Second important point which we have to keep in mind, that in India, most of the area which are either dry or arid in nature, in a sense where there is a deficiency of water or where the irrigation facilities have not been properly developed, or if there is a deficit in the monsoonal rainfall, in that cases or in that areas we have the cultivation of millets, because millets require very less water, less irrigation for the growth. Overall, though there are a multiple number of crops, millet crops that are grown in India, three millet crops are having highest share in the cropping area. These three are bajra at the first, jowar in the second, and ragi in the third. And if you combine them together, in total they account for almost 7% of the gross crop area of India. So that is the cultivation of three millet crops. Now, let us try to understand this in a more better manner on the map of India. Now, if you look at the jawar, as you discussed, jawar is something that is cultivated over 4.24 million hectare area in India, while bajra has been cultivated in 2021 year by to a 7.75 million hectare area of India. if we look at the states where millet crop are cultivated, so as you can see, majority of the states of India, right from north in Jammu and Kashmir to south in Kerala, we can see cultivation of millets. The only states where we do not have significant millet cultivation are the states of UP, we have Jharkhand, we have Bihar, and some of the northeastern states, as well as the states of Punjab here, because the most of the crop that is cultivated are cereal crops, and that is why millet crop is not a major crop. So overall, if you look at this, more than 10 different varieties of millet crops are cultivated in India. So that is all about the map and the millet crop cultivation. Now the question comes that why suddenly everyone is paying so much attention to the millets, and why PM Modi has said that millet is a future crop. There must be some advantages that millets offer which is not observed or which is not seen in the other crops. So let us try to understand this. So first and foremost important point about millets is that it is considered as a powerhouse of nutrition, because there is large number of various different types of nutrients that is available in the millet. And not only that, in year 2018, Ministry of Agriculture and Family Welfare of India has declared millet as a nutri cereals, that is short for nutrition cereals. Now, what kind of nutrients we can find in the millet? If you look at here from the data's perspective, we can see in the millets we have 7 to 12% of protein. That is again very important, and if especially in India most of people are suffering from the hidden hunger, and the main reason behind this hidden hunger is the deficiency of protein in the diet. This also arises because in India is one of the largest country where the population of vegetarian people is quite higher, and that is why they have very limited sources of protein, and thus the risk of protein deficiency rises. Thus, apart from protein, it has very less fat, that is good, 2 to 5% fat, then 65 to 75% carbohydrate, again a source of energy, and 15 to 20% of dietary fiber. Again, this is very important because it helps in good digestion and keeps the gut system or human gut healthy. So it is due to this reason the millets have been considered as powerhouse of nutrition. However, this is not the only benefit that millets offer. Millets also have several health benefits. For example, millet is the crops which are having one of the lowest glycemic index. Now you'll ask that what is glycemic index? So glycemic index refers to the amount by which glucose content of the body rises when you take any food or when you eat any food. For example, the glycemic index of rice is 90, while the glycemic index of millets are around 30. That means the rise in glucose will be 3 times more if you consume rice or wheat as compared to if you consume the what you can say is the millets. So that is why it also keeps blood sugar level in control. Second, it regulates the absorption of carbohydrate and fats because these are the coarse cereal, and that is why the release of nutrients happens at a slow rate. Not only that, it even satiates you faster. That means if you're hungry and if you're eating the rice, you'll eat more rice because your hunger will not be satiated faster. On the other hand, if you're eating millet crops, then after some time, in a shorter period of time, your hunger will be satiated, and that is why you will consume less food, and thus the overall change in the blood sugar, overall change in the blood glucose will be relatively lesser. So that is the other advantage that that millets offer. Third is, as far as the medical professionals and doctors are concerned, they believe that millets can play a significant role in controlling triglycerides as well as cholesterol. Now, these, are very important to control. These need to be kept in check. They need to be kept within their permissible limit, because if there is a high concentration of triglycerides and cholesterol, that generally arises because of consuming more fatty foods or fried foods. Thus, your heart will be at risk, and you will be have higher probability of coronary diseases. Thus, if you are regularly consuming millets and have included this as a part of your regular diet, the risk of heart diseases will also be quite minimal. So that is the other advantage. And last, we can say the millet do not contain any kind of gluten, and many people are found to be gluten who are having some sort of reaction with the gluten, and they are gluten intolerant in nature. Thus, they can also include millets in their diet, because if they cannot eat bread or wheat or this kind of materials because they have gluten in them. And last, that millets are rich not only in nutrients and protein, but they are also rich in several vitamins, especially vitamin B3 is found in very huge quantity in the millets, as well as vitamin A is also found here. So the vitamin requirement of the body, the required daily allowance of the vitamin can also be fulfilled by consuming millets. So this is all about the health benefits and overall benefits. However, millets are advantageous from the perspective of the cultivators or farmers as well, because as we discussed few minutes back, millets consume relatively less amount of water as compared to the cereal crops, especially rice, wheat and sugarcane. Thus, in those areas where water is not abundantly available or where monsoon has high chances of failure, there it can benefit the cultivator because it can provide them with a supplemental income even if the crops that are depending on the rain fails due to the bad rainfall. And also, since millets can basically utilize all the natural form of farming, thus they are benefit for environment as well. Not only that, PM Modi also has highlighted that to increase the agricultural and dietary diversity of India as well as world, focus on attention is also required. Because right now, most of our attention of the farmers, cultivators are towards cereal crop, and that is why it seems that we are moving to a system of monocropping, and monocropping will be very deadly in the future, because if the crop fails, if suppose a pest attack happens and if the whole area is covered by a single crop, there can be large scale destruction of the agricultural wealth and can also cause economic losses, as well as it will threaten the livelihood of the small and marginal farmers of India. And that is why you need to have a good mix of the crops when someone is cultivating the crops in India. Third, also, since India has been a leading voice in declaring millets as a superfood or in highlighting or underlining the importance of millet at the global scale, India can also have or gain some sort of political significance, is geopolitical significance, because India will emerge as a leader. Similarly, as you see in the case of International Solar Alliance, where India was a leading member who have led to development of the International Solar Alliance, and similar in that context also we can understand the millets. So again, to revise briefly, health benefit of millet are huge. Treat coronary artery diseases, reduces the risk of colon cancer, help in preventing celiac diseases. Celiac diseases happen due to the gluten. Good sources of antioxidants that neutralizes the free radicals in your body, help in weight loss, help in decreasing high blood pressure, controls diabetes, as well as help in slowing down muscle degradation. Now, as we are discussing about that International Year of Millets has been declared, 2023 has been declared as International Year of Millet as per the resolution passed by the United Nations General Assembly. And this resolution or proposal was basically moved by India first and later on was supported by 72 countries. The overall aim of declaring 2023 as International Year of Millet is to spread awareness about the millets and inspire stakeholders, whether it is the corporate, whether it is the farmers, the cultivators, whether it is seed manufacturing agencies, whether it is the fertilizer manufacturing agencies, or even in the international government and and non-governmental organization. It is aimed to inspire those stakeholders to improve the production and quality of the millets, as well as also attract investment, so that in the near future commercial farming of the millets can also be undertaken. That is about the International Year of Millet. So by all this discussion, what we can simply say that as we are becoming or as we became an agricultural society, millets became relegated to being an animal food. That is what we are trying to understand, that in the ancient civilizations such as Indus Valley civilization, Greek civilization, Roman civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, or even in the Egyptian civilization, millet was one of the most important staple food of the people. But once the agricultural revolution happened, as we came to know about more and more different types of crops and fruits and food, it was relegated to become a food that was eaten mainly or consumed mainly by the animals. However, we have about 300 varieties of millet in our country, and especially in the climate conscious time, because you know the pattern of rainfall, the dependency of rainfall in India is quite higher, and the pattern of rainfall fluctuate very significantly due to global warming and associated factors. Thus, in these times, such crops which can consume less water or heat resistant and still nutrient dense are very important, and that is why the millet are going to become a superfood in the coming time. And thus it is high time we shift our attention from the cereal crop to millet. It was in India, in the case of India, it was the green revolution of 1966, 1960s, 1970s, which have caused significant boom in the production of the cereal crops. But now is the time we should try to shift our gaze and attention back to the millet crop. That is advantageous for the consumer, for the producer, for the government, as well as international society overall. So that is all about this particular issue. I hope you understood about the concept behind millets as superfood, International Year of Millets, and what is the significance and advantages of millets. That is all for this particular topic. We'll come again soon with another interesting topic. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such helpful content. Thank you very much.